Saint Herman, for many the patron of North America, was born near Moscow around 1756 to a pious merchant family and entered monastic life at the age of 16 at the Trinity St. Sergius Lavra near St. Petersburg. While there he was attacked by cancer of the face, but the Mother of God appeared to him and healed him completely. He was tonsured a monk in 1783 with the name of Herman and was received into Valam Monastery on Lake Ladoga. After some time he was allowed to withdraw to the life of a hermit in the forest, and only came to the monastery for feast days. In 1793, in response to a request by the Russian-American Commercial Company for missionaries to Alaska, Valam Monastery was told to select a company of its best monks to travel to America. 8 were chosen, of whom the hermit Herman was one. The company crossed all of Siberia and almost a year later first saw Kodiak Island, in September 1794. The missionaries set about their work, and found the native Aleut people so receptive to the gospel of Christ that in the first year about 7,000 were baptized and 1,500 marriages performed. Despite several hardships, the missionaries covered huge distances on foot and in small boats to reach the scattered fishing settlements of the Aleuts. In general, they found a warm reception, but many of the pagan shamans opposed their message and sometimes stirred up the people against them. It was thus that the priest-monk Juvenali was killed in 1796, becoming the first martyr of North America. Despite such opposition, the missionaries' major difficulty was with the Russian traders and settlers, who were in the habit of exploiting the Aleuts as they wished and who had oppressed and disgusted the native people with their immoral behavior. When the missionaries came to the defense of the natives, they were repaid with the opposition of the Russian-American Company, whose leadership put countless obstacles in the path of their work. In time, several of the company died at sea, and several more abandoned the mission in discouragement, leaving the monk Herman alone. He settled on Spruce Island near Kodiak, and once again took up the hermit's life, dwelling in a small cabin in the forest. He spent his days in prayer and mission work, and denied himself every fleshly comfort. He fasted often, and lived on a diet of blackberries, mushrooms, and vegetables. Despite these privations, he founded an orphanage and a school for the natives of the island, cared for the sick in epidemics, and built a chapel where he conducted divine services attended by many. He was not a priest, but God made up the lack in miraculous ways. At Theophany, angels descended to bless the waters of the bay, and the saint would use the holy water to heal the sick. Asked if he was ever lonely or dejected in his solitude, he replied, "I am not alone. God is here as everywhere, and the angels too. There is no better company." St. Herman reposed in peace on Spruce Island at the age of 81 in 1836. At the moment of his departure his face was radiant with light, and the inhabitants nearby saw a pillar of light rising above his hermitage. His last wish was to be buried on Spruce Island. When some of his well-intentioned disciples attempted to take his relics back to Kodiak to be buried at the church there, a storm rose up and continued unabated until they abandoned the plan and buried him as he desired. He was officially glorified in 1970, the first canonized American saint.